Hello and welcome to my creative critical reflection for my AICE Media Studies final project, A Knock at Night, created by me, Justin Davila. Question 1. How does the product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups and issues? The slasher horror genre has many different conventions like dark lighting, intense music to ramp up suspense, a quiet secluded setting, a mysterious killer with an unknown identity or motive, the inciting incident, which is like the opening kill or the event that drives the plot forward, blood and gore, and loud sound effects that pair with jump scares. My movie does choose to challenge the dark lighting convention a few times throughout its runtime, particularly inside during the lit up interior sequences, but there are a few notable moments where dark lighting was used absently in a strategic manner to pull the audience's attention to certain parts of the scene. Right here in this part where the camera pulls back from this dark hallway right here, having the rest of the light in the dining room, it makes it look like there's a big contrast from this doorway, and it makes it sort of intimidating for the audience. Again, here there's another contrast between the dark exterior streets and then the inside of the garage, which is brightly lit, and you see the killer passing by in the background. It kind of subverts the audience's expectations because they expect it to come from the dark driveway, but it's really behind the main character. I also did this for a few practical reasons as well. There's a few issues with shooting in the dark, especially like in this scene. You see the graininess of the shot. It's because there's a lack of light and the camera isn't able to really pull much information. So it's especially a problem I have with this scene and also in the very beginning. My movie also challenges blood and gore, which is very absent, especially in the ending where it's a kill scene, but the camera cuts away off screen, letting the violence occur in the audience's imagination, which sometimes is just as effective as showing it on screen. For representation of social groups, my movie features a younger cast, so people from this current generation will be able to relate to the on-screen actors a little bit more. For costume, I chose to represent somebody who's a little bit more laid back through a hoodie and pajamas. And for props, I used the iPhone 14 for calling the police, which is using current technology, which is something that people from this time period are going to relate to a little bit more. I also chose to represent a suburban setting, which is something that people from those areas are going to be able to relate to. People who reside in these areas are going to be able to see the sense of seclusion and sort of the eerie quietness that's in these communities at night, which is something I wanted to capture in my movie. Question 2. How does your product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as a real media text? So why should an audience come out and watch my movie? Well, first of all, if it went through the MPAA, it would be rated PG-13 for implied violence and some terror, but there's no explicit blood and gore, and there's no swearing in my movie, so a wider audience would be allowed to come out and watch it. My movie is a bit more accessible to people that want to come out and watch a lighter movie. The horror genre also has some of the largest appeal amongst moviegoers. People want to go out and watch a horror movie for a quick adrenaline rush and have a great time with it, which is also why I choose to have a short runtime and a simple plot for my movie. It makes for doing creative scares a lot easier. Something like Halloween, The Strangers do very well. It's a simple plot, you know what you're getting into, but you could still get a kick out of it. If this movie is being distributed as a real world product that was gonna be going out into the world, it would first have to be bought by a distribution company like Warner Brothers or Paramount, and they would have to be the ones who would bring my movie to a platform like a movie theater or streaming services like Netflix. As of right now, in the current state of my movie, it's student-led and it's 2-minute and 10-second runtime, which is nowhere near feature length. So right now it's being distributed on YouTube. I could also distribute it on other social media platforms and free websites. Question 3. How did your production skills develop throughout this project? One of the main things I learned was how important the pre-production phases of making a movie. Especially during storyboarding, I was able to plan ahead exactly what types of shots I was gonna do, what types of movements, and the narrative structure of my movie. But I also learned that sometimes it doesn't always go as you planned. I had to omit the ending and I had to change up a few elements of the plot towards the second half of my storyboard because I was having runtime issues. Another thing I learned how to use was the editing software WeVideo, which is a program that my whole class used for this project. I'm actually using it for the CCR right now, but it had a whole bunch of handy tools like a free video and audio library, which really came in handy for finding a last minute sound effect or soundtrack that I could use for my movie. There's also an upload bin where I could add video and pictures from my Google Drive, which was really helpful as well. Question 4. How did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, online in this project? So, for my hardware, I used an iPhone 14 Pro Max, which had many different camera modes depending on the scenario, which were helpful for shooting. I also used an app called Dolby On, which was able to record sound effects and gave me the option to alter sound tones. I also had the website SoundCloud, which had free music on there that I could use for my soundtrack. To upload, I used Google Drive, which had many different folder options that allowed me to organize my project a lot, which really helped in making sure I had everything in the right place. I also used Google Sites for my blog posting, which was a really easy platform to get around and had a lot of customization options to make the blog feel like it was my own. So yeah, that was my creative critical reflection for A Knock at Night. Thank you so much for watching.